The Chicago Bulls have an interesting decision. We're going to be talking about why Jalen Smith and Zac Collins should be playing more, even with Vooch possibly returning back to the starting lineup. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we are looking at why Jalen Smith and Zac Collins still need to be playing a lot more minutes with this team, even though Vooch possibly is going to return back to being a full-time starter for this team. And so before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, wanted to remind you that 72.1% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So like Modest Vazelis did in yesterday's game, make sure you slam dunk on that subscribe button because it means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today and looking at this front court, because now we have Vooch, who has come back from an injured calf. We have now Jalen Smith, who is back from the concussion protocol. He's looked pretty good here over his last couple games. And finally, we've been utilizing Zac Collins. And so let's start with Jalen Smith and just why he should be, in fact, I think, in the plans for the Chicago Bulls as far as playing a lot more down the stretch. And so, one of the things that Billy Donovan talked about is just earning minutes. And I think that that is key number one. I feel like that Jalen Smith has earned the minutes. And so I know when you look, over his last 10, the numbers don't jump off the page. In fact, over his last 10, he's only averaging 6.2 points a game, 5.5 rebounds a game, 0.7 with the blocks, 37.8 from the field, 22.7 from three. But like I said before, he has only played in 20 minutes. He's only played 20 minutes in only 3 games this season. In fact, he played 26 against Orlando, 23 against Boston, and then 29 against Charlotte. And we're 1-3 in those games. The only game that we won was the game that he played 26 minutes in Orlando, and that was the game that he fouled out. But still, I think that when you talk about earning minutes, you have to look at something more than the stats. And I think that, look, Jalen Smith has done a great job coming in, and really when his number has been called upon, Jalen Smith is a player that certainly looks like that if the Chicago Bulls needed to pivot today and he needed to start at the center, I don't think that I wouldn't feel comfortable as him being the starter. In fact, I think that Jalen Smith would be just fine. And really, when we look at the numbers and go a little bit more deeper as far as, what he's doing right now with the Chicago Bulls in comparison to what he did with the Indiana Pacers, like you can see right now, just looking at the numbers, I mean, yes, there are some things that he's down in, but there are some key things that he's up in. And so let's start with the things that have been slightly down since he's joined the Chicago Bulls. You see that his field goal percentage is slightly down. He's down from 59.2 last season with the Indiana Pacers to 46.6. His three-point percentage is slightly down right now from 42.4 down to 34%. But when you look at the things that he's been up in, look, his free throw percentage, he's gone up there. So 69.2 up to 82.3. That's a good indication because, look, he's going to be catching lobs and things like that from, our guards, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Ayo, and he's probably going to get some additional contact. And so the fact that he's able to get to the free throw line and make teams pay, you have to love that. And then the rebounding totals, look, that is another added bonus. That is one of the things that this team absolutely needs to do is continue to out-rebound the other club. And what I love most about his rebound numbers is his defensive rebounds have gone up. He's gone up from 3.7 to 4.2 rebounds a game on the defensive end. That is super important when you're talking about eliminating additional possessions from the opposing team and just really finishing off defensive plays. Like, that is what a defensive rebound is all about. It's about finishing the defensive possession. And so you absolutely need that. And his totals are up slightly. So 5.5 to 5.6. And then also, too, his block shots are slightly up. 0.6 to 0.7, I know it is just a slight difference, but again, we talk about getting better. A slight increase is great to see, and especially blocking shots because, look, we need some additional rim protection. And so if you can trust him to get a block shot here and there, that is what you like to see. And I love the fact that his fouls are down too as well. He was at 2 fouls a game with the Pacers, and he's down to 1.6. And so that means that, look, Jalen Smith, we know about the thin frame that he has, but still, we know that centers were going to attack him, but he's doing a great job as far as holding his own defensively, and he is not fouling a lot. So I like that about Jalen Smith. And then you have to like the fact that, look, with the ball in his hands, he's not turning the basketball over as much. Again, a slight difference, 0.7 to 0.6 this year. And so you see that the turnovers are down slightly, and that just suggests that, look, Jalen Smith is a player that, look, we have got to move forward with because, look, he has the longest contract out of the centers right now. And I think that the opportunity that he has with the Chicago Bulls is just a lot different than what he had with the Indiana Pacers. I think that that's really what it comes down to. The opportunity is there because I just think that, the team has got to move on from Vooch, and this is nothing against his play, but it's just the fit of the team right now. I think he fits the system. You want to get up and down. He's athletic. He can shoot the three, and I think he's a pretty decent passer as well, from those dribble handoff positions too. And so, again, Jalen Smith, a player that I certainly think could play. And again, this is not a knock on Vooch because going into Vooch and what he was able to do last night, this just is a testament to how good Vooch is. He had a double-double in last night's game off of the bench. He had 11 points, 11 rebounds. He had an assist, and he was +6. He was 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 1 from downtown, and that's in 24 minutes. So he didn't even get to his minutes restriction, and he was still an impact. But I just think the bottom line is that the Bulls are going a different direction with this roster, and I think between Jalen Smith and Zac Collins, they allow you to pivot. They're also going to give you a bit of stability up front. And I think that if you do bring in a front court player, whether it's a power forward or a center, they're not going to get in the way of the development of that player. And speaking of which, and looking at Zac Collins, look, Zac Collins, I think, has been terrific since we've allowed him to play some more. I think that you're seeing that he's been an excellent passer. In fact, look, last night, I didn't touch on it as much, but he had 6 assists in the game. He also had 9 rebounds, 7 points. He was +17 and a block shot as well. I think he does a great job as far as mixing it up. He's an athletic center like Jalen Smith that gives us the mobility that we want on the defensive end to be able to switch out, to really hedge on those pick and rolls and really make it tough on opposing guards. And so I like the length, the athleticism that we're getting from both of these players. And I know that he has just a year left, but I could see that the Chicago Bulls would absolutely extend him. And I know that we're going to, this play-in situation, and I totally get it. I understand, what the magnitude of this is, and I totally get it with Billy Donovan saying that, look, players are out here to compete. I get it. You're not out there tanking, and nobody wants you to. I think that the bottom line is this, that it doesn't matter who comes in via the draft, free agency. You have to have those principles down, which is winning habits, and this is part of winning habits. Like, you go out there regardless of what it's looking like in the standings, and you play hard, and that's why I've been proud of this team, because they have been playing hard. And I think Billy Donovan, he really understands this, and it's all about now him just going out and really trusting and really experimenting with this team as far as these rotations and things like that. Because here is one of the things that, look, Billy Donovan, in fact, said himself. He knows that, look, this team has got to go out and they have at some point they have to try this. And so this was actually something that I seen about a day ago. This was on Clutch Points. It's an article if you want to check this out. It's under Scotty White, and this is the title of it was Billy Donovan gets real about Nikola Vucevic lineup change. But he's talking about, look, this is something that we absolutely have to take a look at. So paraphrasing this, but he's also telling us that he has, look, some apprehension here. And one of the things that he's really worried about is just, can you play it for extended minutes? And so nobody's asking that you play it for extended minutes, but if you're trying to win some games, I think that if you roll out a double big lineup from time to time, whether whether it's right now with Vooch on the floor and you throw out Zac Collins, or you at least see what it looks like with Jalen Smith and also to Zac Collins out there and see what they can do. You at least get a chance to see what the projected starting lineup is going to look like, and it helps your team as far as, just the build of the team as you move forward with the roster changes over the summer. And I also think that makes you even better because you're now starting to get on the same page. I mean, you don't have to wait until, the summer, until training camp next season. You can start to get really, I think, in tune for what you want to do and get just more comfortable stylistic what you want to do by putting these guys on the court. And so I just think that Billy Donovan is going to have to make those decisions. And finally, when I look at just, some of the things that I saw last night and just some things that I forgot to point out is just that, look, man, Billy Donovan, he's talking about like people earning minutes and all these things like that. And then he's also talking about the right things about thinking about this stuff. But you literally have to do it, because still we are starting to see where you see a guy like Kevin Huerter, who is getting extended minutes. He got 34 minutes. He got more than Manas Buzelis of the 24 minutes. And we've been talking about his development, right, and his growth. And we know he's going to be a player that, look, you have to move forward with, and that's Manas Buzelis. And I would say the same, with Jalen Smith as well. Like Jalen Smith, look, he has to get into the game. I think that there's no excuse for him not to be in the game, especially when you're up as much as you are, and just this team needing more front court help. Look, you can't just continue to rely on guards. At some point, if you want to get somewhere that you've never gotten before, you've got to be willing to do some things that you've never done before, and that means that you have got to run out these double big lineups, even if it's for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, whatever it is, you have to do it. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking here about this. Should Billy Donovan be playing these double big lineups out there? Do you think that, look, yes, we do need to see what Jalen Smith, Zac Collins are going to do, because certainly they are going to be, a big part of the future of this team right now. I'm not saying that they're going to be here for, 5, 6, 7 years or anything like that, but until you pivot and get to where you want to go, these guys seem like they do fit what the Bulls want to do for right now. And like I said, I don't think either of those players would get in the way of you drafting a front court player. Neither of them get in the way of Manas Buzelis. They both absolutely work with Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Ayo, you name it. Any of the guards on the team, they work just fine with them. We've seen that. And so I just want to see some more of that. And, again, not to throw, anything bad too at, Kevin Huerter. Look, I know that this is a constant. We talk about this all the time with Kevin Huerter. Look, he has been a solid player. I think he's definitely found his way. He's starting to look true to form to what he was when he was with Atlanta. But I just think the long term, the bigs, your front court, like that's something that needs to get fixed. You have a chance to really work on that. And I just don't see Kevin Huerter being a part of the long term. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And as we always say, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.